Hey guys, so it's an interesting video on the Wild Rift. So they're back with another updated complete guide for patch 3.2 plus, and this time we are doing Jinx. Now, of course, I knew straight up that Kai'Sa and Jinx are going to be the first two ADCs I'm going to be doing, because obviously, firstly, I think they both are definitely S plus tier. Now, I know Jinx being S plus tier is a little bit controversial of a pick, but I really do think that she is very strong. But honestly, I'm going to be doing a tier list a little bit later on, but at this point in time, I feel that the best champion is Vayne, then followed by Kai'Sa, then Jinx for now. But we're going to discuss more about that in the patch 3.2 tier list that I will be doing, in the near future. So anyways, today we're going to talk about Jinx, and we just did an updated Jinx complete guide for patch 3.1, where we covered, of course, the new build where you rush Stormrazor first. So really, the build for Jinx is actually completely the same. So as usual for our updated complete guides, for the skills and leveling order, I'll refer you guys to the original Jinx complete guide to look at that in the interest of time. And for this one, in fact, for the build, we're not actually going to go very in-depth into it. We're going to talk more about the runes because that's where the changes are. For the in-depth explanation on the build, take a look at the patch 3.1 plus Jinx updated complete guide that I released, I believe, less than a month ago. So anyways, we're gonna just jump straight into Jinx's build, runes and spells. We're gonna discuss more on the runes, but we're gonna real quickly talk about the build. So first up, start off with Stormrazor. Gives you attack speed, crit, and AD. Best ADC item at the moment. Get yourselves a Gluttonous Greaves for the lifesteal. It can be upgraded into a Proto Belt or a Zonius depending on the game. Infinity Edge for more damage, more crit, and even more damage. Really good 2-item Power Spike. Rapid Fire Cannon for more crit, more attack speed, and mostly for the range. This can also be a Rune Hurricane, which I talked about in the supplementary guide. Then, model reminder, of course, for the armor penetration, as well as the grievous wounds. You can get a Executioner's Calling earlier if you so need it. And lastly, the GA for the revive, and you can replace this with the Rune Hurricane if it is down. So next up, we're going to talk about the runes. So obviously, Lethal Tempo is the new latest and greatest rune. So Lethal Tempo, when you attack, you gain stacks up to 6 times, and each stack gives you 3 to 9% of attack speed. So at level 1, that's going to be 3% attack speed per stack, and at level 15, that's 9% attack speed per stack. So 9 times 6 is like 54% attack speed, and you get an additional 30% attack speed when you full stack. So this literally gives you like 84% extra attack speed at max level, which is huge. And basically, it's obviously great on Jinx because she's someone who loves to attack and loves to attack fast. Whether be it with the minigun or the rockets, you want to be attacking quickly. So this is amazing on Jinx. So now, next for the Domination rune, you still go for Hunter Vampirism because you have no other source of lifesteal aside from Gluttonous Greaves and Hunter Vampirism. So you really got to go for the Hunter Vampirism, in my opinion. No two ways about it. Like, you can't really take Scorch or Giant Slayer. You need to go for Hunter Vampirism, and I don't really think those two runes are that good anyway. For the second one, you actually have a lot of choices. So for the second rune, you can actually go for Hunter Titan in heavy CC comps, which is very common in the current meta, which is why most of the time I go for that. You can go for Bone Plating against comps that have very high burst damage, and you can go for Nullifying Orb where you have a very poor laning matchup. For example, maybe against a Draven, you might want to go for Nullifying Orb. So you have a little bit of an easier time in lane, because this will give you that shield when you drop below 35%. Think of it like a Sterix Gauge or a Maw of Malmortius kind of passive, but it just gives you a flat shield, which is going to be really helpful for you. But most of the time, it's going to be Hunter Titan. By the way, Nullifying Orb nowadays normally replaces Adaptive Carapace. Adaptive Carapace is basically normally an inferior version of Nullifying Orb in most situations. Finally, for the last one, you actually take Mana Flow Ban. In the gameplay, I actually took Nimbus Cloak to test it out, and I really feel that you need the Mana Flow Ban, because if not, you run out of mana when you're firing your rockets way too easily, and basically you get Mana Flow Ban equals to more ammo for your rockets, which of course is a great thing. So of course you do want to get that. Never go for Sweet Tooth, and don't go for Hunter Titan because you don't need it. Nimbus Cloak is an option as well, but for me personally, I think Mana Flow Ban is what you want to go for because you need that mana. For the spells, of course, you go for Flash and Exhaust as usual. Exhaust is the meta spell on ADCs now. If you don't want to take Exhaust, you can take Barrier as well. So with all that out of the way, we can move on to the gameplay. Alrighty, so moving straight on to the gameplay. So as usual, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And any questions, queries, or any remarks, just put in the comments below, and I'll be sure to respond to any questions if need be. So rocking the glorious Jinx skin as usual, because as you guys know, I find that when I play the arcane Jinx skin, my matches don't go too well. But when I play the glorious one, my matches go way better. So yeah, definitely prefer the glorious Jinx skin because I win more on it. But anyways, so here we have ourselves a Karma, and we're against a Galio and a Tristana. So what we really gotta watch out for is getting engaged upon, because obviously if Galio engages onto us, Tristana can stack her bomb, and we're gonna be in trouble, basically, because especially with no mobility and being relatively squishy as an ADC. So there are a lot of ADCs where lethal tempo is very good on. Probably Jinx and Vayne would be the two best in my opinion. But it just feels really good to take on any ADC that, I mean, basically every ADC, aside from some like Jinx, Jhin, and Senna, who don't really attack quickly. But basically on every other ADC, like, Xayah, Tristana, like even those who can take Conqueror, like Xayah, Tristana, Caitlyn, those champions, Kai'Sa even, it still feels really good to take lethal tempo, just because attacking quickly just feels so good compared to just hitting harder with the Conqueror. But yeah, so I will be, of course, doing videos on all of the champions who can take lethal tempo. But for some champions like Jinx and Kai'Sa, maybe it's going to be like an updated complete guide. But for some like champions, for example, I'm thinking like Xayah or Tristana, I think it's going to be a supplementary guide, because I don't think lethal tempo is the best rune to take. But I think that it's definitely a viable option / a good option. Like, or whether it's the best or not, the Conqueror build definitely doesn't go away. Like with Jinx, lethal tempo would always be taken over Conqueror, but with someone like Tristana or Caitlyn or maybe even Xayah, I don't think you would always 100% of the time take lethal tempo over Conqueror. Anyways, here we have a huge fight. I exhaust the Tristana exhausts me. I tried to actually focus the Galio for some reason. Instead, I'm going for the Tristana. There we go, first blood onto the Tristana, and we are off to a very good start. So, yeah, as you guys can see, that's what tends to happen in this particular lane. It's kind of an all-in lane where Galio goes in, Tristana puts the bomb on, and we're basically in trouble. So the best way to go about it is hopefully dodge their engage, hopefully not let her stack up her bomb, and we'll be at the advantage after that. Anyways, this allows us to actually accumulate one plate. Tristana comes back in, tries to put her bomb on the Karma, who's low, runs straight into the trap, and I just unleash a little bit of free poke. Free poke never really hurt anybody. And here we're just going to back and grab ourselves a couple of items, being the BR Sword and the Kerkai's Shard, of course. Also on our team, we have the Echo Jungle. So, Echo, my thoughts on Echo for the start is I think his ult CD is way too low. I think his burst damage is really high, but because he's really squishy, I think the damage is somewhat reasonable. But I think that the ult CD is a little bit too low, because like it's like 25 seconds like at max rank with like a couple of items, and I think that's completely ludicrous as our Echo gets executed by the Gromp. Yeah, that's what I think about Echo. I think Echo's ult is a little bit too strong, but I think the rest of his kit and everything is all alright. Anyways, here we are against an Evelynn, so we're gonna see the use of the control ward. So as you guys can see, I control ward the bush there. That actually disables the enemy ward. So since we don't have a lot of free time to auto attack the ward, because I'm trying to push in the wave, we're actually just gonna leave the ward there because it is disabled by the control ward. Anyway, of course you get higher vision score by actually removing the ward, but you know, in a practical sense, it doesn't really matter. Speaking of which, the Evelynn comes in from the tri-bush area, and here I'm just trying to kill somebody before I die. Lux does manage to snipe off the Galio, which is fine, and I do actually get the kill on Tristana, I believe, from the Chomper's DOT. If you guys didn't know, the Chompers actually does have a little bit of DOT, but it's barely noticeable. But yeah, so it does actually manage to kill off the Tristana. So either way, we have our boots, we have ourselves the Storm Razor, and of course, we also have equipped ourselves with the control ward, really useful against Evelynn. So now, normally when you control ward a bush, now I'm just covering this because control wards are new, of course, and not everybody may know how to use control ward properly. But when you control ward a bush, generally you want it to be a bush you can control. So in this case, because we're generally pushing against Galio and Tristana, that river bush is something that we can defend. Of course, if a jungler comes over and knocks out our ward, we can't do anything about that. But we can definitely prevent the enemy laners from actually doing anything to it. Here I flash over. Unfortunately, Tristana barriers, or rather, I think that's actually the nullifying orb. I don't actually think that's barrier. I zap her, but she does survive with a little bit of HP, so a little bit unfortunate. So Evelyn comes in, picks up the free kill onto Karma, smites the Crux by accident, but I still die anyways. Really helpful retreat ping by the Echo, as if we didn't know we should be running from the Evelyn. Especially since he is executed by the Grom, so heh. Anyways, the enemy team gets a free dragon. Basically, Echo, no reason to actually go there because really hard to contest by yourself being an incredibly squishy character. Lux actually manages to bail him out with the light binding, and he does manage to escape away with a sliver of HP. Now here I'm in for the fight. With really huge Karma out, we get 2 assists for the reset, and we're on the chase for the Galio. I exhaust him just to slow him down. And he actually taunts me, which doesn't really matter because I was planning to attack him anyway, so in this case that doesn't really matter at all. Managed to get the kill on together for the reset. Barrier comes down by the Tristana, and we can't really catch up to her, so unfortunately she's going to be getting away scot-free. And I actually ran out of mana to cast rockets there, so this is really where I'm like, I wish I had mana flow ban instead of having that Nimbus cloak, which of course was helpful in chasing down the Galio actually when I hit the exhaust, but I do think that mana flow ban is really essential for having the ammo to blast people with your rockets on Jinx. So anyways, Brand for some reason has rotated up into my lane, and he's going to be staying here for quite some time, which I find pretty strange because basically means mid lane is undefended. Of course our mid lane tower is already down, but staying here for extended duration I think is pretty strange of a move. Either way, I'm trying to make use of my range to try to do what I can to keep both of them poked down a little bit, and also try to keep them at bay. Now, I was trying to aim for the Rift Trial Pit there, but my fingers slipped when I was launching the rocket, so let's just pretend we didn't see that. Rocket to Narnia. Nowhere even close to the Rift Trial. More like I was aiming toward the red buff on that one, based on the trajectory. But anyways, Brand, as you guys can see, still parked up in my lane. So, of course, the usual rotation for Rift Herald by the support normally comes around this time. So, as the ADC, basically what you want to do is try to play safe and just not die. You don't have to try to kill people or anything, but all you gotta do is not die. Now that my support is back though, I can step up and see if I can, do anything. Brand basically becomes the second support now because Galio is off roaming elsewhere. Root tries to go down by the Karma W, but Tristana has a jump to break the tether, so nothing too much happens there. Evelyn comes in. I exhaust her immediately to prevent her from killing the Karma, and it really is successful because she doesn't really do too much damage with her ult or with the exhaust on. Galio shows up as well. Full engage onto the Karma. Brand ult comes down as well. Here I'm just blasting really whoever I can. Trying to blast the Tristana, but the barrier comes down, and my zap gets blocked by a minion who literally walked into the path of the zap after I channeled it. So I guess minion really helped out the Tristana there. If not, I might have actually been able to trade the kill, but yeah, it doesn't quite work out. Anyways, here Teemo and Set throwing down in the mid lane. Teemo takes 1 honey fruit only, doesn't take the other 2, and yeah, so overall I'm 4-3 and 4. You guys will see that this is not the best early game on Jinx I've ever had, obviously. Already got 3 deaths on the board, but sometimes even as playing like a late game hyper carry, you can die a little bit in the early game. It's not a huge deal. Like, of course you don't go like 0 and 4 or something if you can help it, but 4-3 and 4 is alright. Like, you're getting kills and you're dying. Like, at the end of the day, you're gonna outscale like pretty much everybody on enemy team. Like, maybe only Tristana has somewhat comparable scaling to me. Brand maybe is also gonna be doing a lot of damage in the late game, but basically I'm probably the best scaling champion in the game at the moment. So it's no big deal to like trade deaths for kills. Of course, you want to avoid dying as much as possible and play safe when you're on Jinx, but it's not the worst case in the world. So anyways, I finally do manage to take down the top tower, which allows me to actually rotate over to mid, and instead just take mid farm and just pressure mid in general. Lux actually goes up to the top lane, which I think does make sense. And I finally use control ward onto this mid lane bush, which does remove my control ward at top, as you guys can see. So when we get to the mid to late stages of the game, control wards are generally going to be used to actually use on the objectives like the Baron Pit and the Dragon Pit. It's not going to be so useful for just putting it at random places. It's really normally better to have the normal ward and only swap to control ward when you are against the enemy team in a team fight. At the objectives, of course, is what I'm trying to say. But in this case, I kept my control ward for the entire game just because there's an Evelynn on the enemy team and I want to be able to plunk it down and see her if I so need to. Here I launch my ult across, doesn't quite hit anybody, I believe, and Rift Herald is channeled in the mid lane by my team. Infernal Dragon is of course up, so Rift Herald will be able to exert a little bit of pressure on the mid lane tower, which is basically full health at this point in time. Redemption by the Karma to of course top us off in terms of health. And we're just trying to siege the mid lane tower. I'm going to get a reset of that mid lane tower, so I'm going to be blasting away with my rockets on whoever I can. I actually get knocked out by the Galio, but we do manage to actually kill the Galio. Set Haymaker does come in, but I still managed to kill him after that. Evelynn actually came in via a flank, which is why basically I was 1v2 there, and my team was all trying to deal with the Evelynn. Thankfully, we do manage to do that, and we kill 4 members of the enemy team at the cost of only 1 Teemo. So basically our reward is going to be a free Infernal Dragon. Brand is going to clear out the mid lane. He's not going to try to contest at all, which of course he shouldn't. So here we just get ourselves a free Infernal Dragon. I see some top lane farm, so I'm just going to get myself that top lane farm. And Rift Herald is of course up, so I am just pinging that I'm coming over to Rift Herald. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear up the top lane, and then I'm going to reset, get some items, and rotate over to the Rift Herald. Now, of course, the enemy team, if they were doing the Rift Herald, they would probably have completed it by now. But I'm just hoping that they aren't doing it. Turns out that they might have been, or not. I think that what actually happened there is that the Rift Herald expired and became a Baron. So, anyways, not such big of a deal. I see a fight breaking out in the river near the Rift Herald area, so I'm trying to get myself there as quickly as I can, launching ult to try to hit somebody to help out, but basically they disengage and the fight kind of just stops right there. So here I'm already in the bot lane, so control ward, clear out the enemy ward since I have the time to do so, and I'm just gonna clear out the bot lane and take the farm. So just rotating around the map, taking the farm whenever I can. I see Set and I see Brand, so I'm not going to greet over that cannon minion. I'm just going to back off so that I don't get caught by a flash E by the Set or something like that and get bursted by the Brand. Really easy to die in a situation like that. So instead, what do? We rotate mid. We take the mid farm, of course. As the ADC, you always want to farm wherever you can, whenever you can. So we get the mid lane farm, and I believe that should be enough to get the rapid fire cannon, maybe? Not too sure. But yeah, almost did it with the rapid fire cannon. Below 600 gold required, so we're just maybe going to farm another wave, and we're probably going to go back and get ourselves the rapid fire cannon, which of course is going to be a huge power spike for us, especially in terms of the range. Like 1 auto with the enhanced range with the rapid fire cannon and a rocket is going to do a ton of damage to the enemy team. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to go back and we're going to pick up the rapid fire cannon itself. Alright, also in this game we picked up the Zanya's Hourglass because it's like an Evelynn in the game that can instantly burst us, and if we get caught by someone like the Bran or Galio, Zanya is going to be really helpful as well, hopefully so that our team can back us up. So here, free blast onto the Tristana. And yet again, just clearing out the wave. So nothing too interesting happening here. Like on Jinx, her neutral game is like alright. It's not the best, not the worst. You can farm, you can have range, etc. But you can't really do too much. Mainly you're just there for the team fights, the resets, and just getting multi-kills in team fights. is really the goal of playing Jinx. So here, I try to rocket. Bran actually in the bush blocking the rocket. And here, Karma speeds me up, tries to get me into the fight. Boom, 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 blasting away at the Galio. And just seeing what I can do. Jinx really wants the team fight. She loves team fights, of course. With the rocket, you can hit multiple people. Just do a lot of damage as long as you can stay safe in the back line. Set tries to hide in the bush, takes a ton of damage for his efforts. And Karma Shield basically keeps me from taking too much damage. I'm still basically at full health. Set flashing in for the engage onto the Karma. I just exhaust him so that Karma doesn't instantly die. Lux actually gets the kill, but I do get the reset. I exhaust the Tristana. Actually, wait, there's two exhausts. I exhausted one of them, I guess. The other one was exhausted by somebody else. And I managed to launch my ultimate all the way downtown to actually get the free kill onto the Galio. Pick up the blue buff and then gonna proceed to push this tower. Only Evelynn and Tristana are left alive, so it's gonna be a little bit difficult for them to defend this tower. With my minigun, a lot of attack speed. Evelynn comes in with the charm. No exhaust for me anymore. I do manage to get the kill onto Evelynn, but unfortunately Tristana's bomb does manage to actually finish off Karma, so Karma does actually die. So here I just gonna farm up the wave as usual. Got already 2 free attacks onto the Tristana, which actually managed to half health her, so we do a ton of damage. So here we're just going to back. We're going to take the enemy ground. We know that they can see us because of the control ward over there, placed by one of my teammates. And we're just going to back. Elder Dragon is, of course, coming up in roughly 30 seconds. So we do want to be ready for that. We get ourselves the Moral Reminder as well as a Chain Vest. Just get ourselves a little bit of armor. Of course, building into the GA. I do actually sometimes like taking the Chain Vest instead of taking the BF Sword. Just to have a little bit of defenses. Free Blast onto the set. I'm just going to remove that ward there. Just checking where his set's in the brush. Turns out he's over there near the tri-brush. And here we're just going to see what we can do. Echo goes in by himself. Gets basically destroyed. Tristana jumps in. And I'm going to try to take out the Tristana, which we do manage to actually do. Lux actually KS's me again. And gets the shutdown to the Tristana, unfortunately for me. Elder Cloud Dragon is, of course, up. But our Echo is dead and Evelynn is alive, so we of course cannot start the objective at all. We can only basically try to stop them from doing the objective. So here I'm just seeing who I can blast. Turns out to be nobody, so instead I'm just going to blast the Razor Beaks. You know, taking whatever farm we can. Still not at full build yet, so still a lot of farming to do. Evelynn spotted on the Cloud Dragon, so we're going to hit on over and see if we can stop that. So here, just blasting the set, trying to kill the set so I can get the reset. And of course we have put the traps behind him and chompers behind him. There we go. Reset. I get the kill onto Bran as well. I nearly actually killed the Evelynn. Evelynn actually ults there to avoid my ult, and I get the triple onto the Galio. Evelynn's still somewhere around, using that zap to check if she's anywhere close. There she is. Karma manages to tag her up with a Q and she dies. I knew she was like 1 HP when I launched my rocket, and she tried to come over for the steal, even though she didn't have ultimate, she didn't have flash, and she really didn't have any hope in the world of stealing that. So she dies. 4 members of the enemy team are dead, so we're gonna head over to the Baron, and we're just gonna basically just take the Baron for free. Only Tristana is alive. She can stop it. And yeah, there we go. Free Baron for us in addition to our Elder Dragon. So we're going to get ourselves the GA. So now we're full build. Now we're at maximum power. And now we are ready to destroy more people in team fights. So as you guys can see, we went from 4, 3, and 4. Now we're at 12, 3, and 8. So, you know, sometimes not getting off to the best of starts in the world is still fine, especially when you're playing a late game hyper carry like Jinx. Still got a ton of time to, you know, make an impact on the game. And, you know, just destroy people in those team fights. Launching my ult from downtown. Trying to participate with my team. Who is, of course, trying to push in the mid lane wave. And just trying to basically get ourselves the mid lane inhibitor. Here the enemy team trying their best to clear out the wave, but with the Baron, not the best, not the easiest in the world. I do get a kill onto the set and become legendary. Of course, do have that reset, but can't quite just run straight at the enemies under tower. So we're gonna wait for the next wave. We're gonna try to just basically just siege the tower and auto whoever we can. And like just get free autos like that. Free auto onto Tristana, free auto onto the Galio just now. And we're gonna get ourselves the tower, and now we get the reset off of the tower. We do get stunned by the Brand. But we do get the Super Mega Death Rocket kill onto the Brand. We get the reset, we get the kill onto Tristana, and there we have it. That is the end of the game. Alright, so I'll leave you guys with the stats as usual. So thank you guys for watching this video, and goodbye.